Okay, welcome to this session on supporting systematic reviews. This is part two. Part one looked at the searching of the databases. Today, we're looking at managing our search results as they will be available in CINAHL and MEDLINE on the EBSCO interface. So essentially, this 60-minute webinar will introduce you to the processes of managing those search results, whether you're saving the results and your searches to your folder, or whether you're going to export to bibliographic software such as Endnote or RefWorks, and so on. So for the benefit of those who did not join part one or have not met me before, attended one of my sessions, I'm Richard Crooks. I work for the EBSCO Customer Trained Services team based in the northwest of England. So thanks for joining us in this session this morning. In terms of the objectives for this webinar, I hope that by the end of this, you'll be able to save, print, and email search results. And I appreciate for some, this is just a refresher. You'll be able to export results in RIS or RS and related formats into bibliographic software as appropriate. You'll also be able to save searches for future reference and access. And of course, you'll be able to create and share custom folders as well. So if you're looking to store search results together, then there are ways to do that. You'll also be able to find further support information for managing your searches and results on the native EBSCO interface. So we have plenty of tutorials, help sheets, guides, etc. regarding that functionality, which will be common across all EBSCO databases, including CINAHL and of course MEDLINE as well. So in terms of moving forward, before we go to the live demonstration, just want to mention about EBSCO single sign-on. So we may be well aware of this, that for the past couple of years, that this has been deployed for the National Discovery Service, the NHS Knowledge and Library Hub, and also EBSCO's research databases. So for those who work in the NHS in England, you have EBSCO single sign-on. So you think, well, what does that mean exactly? Well, what it means is that when you authenticate into a database like CINAHL via Open Athens, so you might be going through the NICE website, for example, or a dedicated link through your trust website, library homepage, etc., then when you click the sign in option for the folder, that folder will automatically be created and you'll be signed into it. Okay, so it cuts out that additional step of having to sign in directly for it. Okay, because it's synchronized with Open Athens authentication. Now, it is possible to merge the new folder with previously created account to save results, etc. But without saying much more about that, I would refer you to this help sheet here on how to merge personal user accounts there. So you will have a copy of the slide deck, by the way, along with the edited recording post session at some point. So just to let you know that obviously we're taking this from the perspective of NHS England. So of course, EBSCO single sign-on is available. Without much ado, we'll go to the live demonstration now. In a moment, you should see my desktop. You should now see the advanced search page for CINAHL. So we've got the advanced search page, which is the typical entry point for running searches for CINAHL and MEDLINE, etc. And although I'm using a demonstration account today, you would typically see your search history displayed above the result list. So obviously, we're looking at the perspective of managing search results, having run a literature search. And so I've got my results displayed below there. I've got my search history showing there, and this one's on ventilator-associated pneumonia, by the way, and oral hygiene. So I've got my search strings there, my set numbers, etc., and the results are below. So now we're looking at how can we process those results? What can we do with this? Well, you'll notice the first thing is that the results that we have displayed are displayed with the most recent records first. And this is the typical sort order for the NHS in England and other related institutions. So you can see date newest is our sort order. We can switch that to the most relevant, and sometimes the most relevant is also the most recent reference as well. So we can scroll down again and you can see now this item is the most relevant according to the algorithm that we have, which is based on the weight associated with the control vocabulary, in other words, CINAHL sort of headings, or it would be MESH for MEDLINE, and also words appearing in the article title. So you can see here we've got chlorhexidine and ventilator pneumonia mentioned there as well. Toothbrushing. So again, there's comparison between the two types of oral hygiene. So they're based. So the results appearing now based on relevancy ranking. Now, obviously, what we can do here. We've got just 28 results at the moment. This could be the first iteration of this search. We'll look at revising it. We typically will go into articles. I think I explained that before. So we'd go into an article like this one and, identify if there are any other articles by the same author or in the same journal, and particularly look at the subheadings, some of which have been already selected, and also review the abstract if there's any other terms that we might want to factor in to a future search. So we kind of covered that in the first session. Obviously, we have options to process individual search results. So you can see on this detailed record page, we've got the tools on the right-hand menu. So Google Drive may or may not be supported in NHS. I'm not sure where we are with that at the moment. It is available, but you may not be able to use that. But we do support OneDrive here, of course. So if you click on that, and it will ask you to sign in, as it's doing now for me. So I'll have to sign in here, okay, and hopefully get into it here. Okay, so just to show you OneDrive. Anyway, we've saved it now to OneDrive. It's signed in. There's also the folder icon as well. So we'll talk about folders in a moment in more detail, but you can add this to the folder here, okay, and that will appear on the top right of the toolbar within the results here. So I've got this item now stored here for reference, okay, for the duration of this session, okay. We've also got the print option as well. So if you wish to print this record, you want to share it with a user, perhaps this is the search you've done for a team of healthcare professionals and now maybe even dentists, dental surgeons, whatever, whoever, then you may want to share this record as a hard copy. So you can do that, and you can choose the appropriate citation format here. So for example, Harvard here, or there's even a customized field option as well. So you can choose that if you prefer. Alternatively, you may just want to email this record. Maybe it's a particular article they've looked for, or you feel obviously this is the most relevant according to the ranking, and so you may want to share that with them to make sure that you're on the right track, as it were. You can include the full text when available. You'll notice on the left-hand column that HTML and PDF formats are available for this article, so you can send both. And again, you can choose the citation format as well if you need to. So you can just choose the preferred citation here, and then send accordingly to your inbox or that of the recipient, whoever it should be going to. The save option is available too. So this is again an individual record. You can save this option, this article, and typically what it will do is save it as an HTML page. But if you right click and select print, you can also save it as a PDF here and change the format as well. Okay, so you can do it in that fashion as well. The other options that you have here, you've got the cite tool. So if you want some guidance, direction, or if you're advising users how to cite this particular paper, then you can see here we've got the alphabetical listing of citation formats with the exact match for the article that we're viewing. And you can see Harvard here, and you can click through to Harvard to view more information on that format through this window here. Okay, that takes you through the EBSCOhost online help menu as well. There is the export tool as well, so we're going to come back to that in more detail in a moment. The permalink here, by the way, will allow you to generate a URL for this particular page. So at this stage within this interface, do not use the browse URL, use this link to forward. So whether you're forwarding in a Teams chat or an email or as part of a reading list, this is the link that you use to take you to this page. If we jump to the PDF with full text, by the way, we have the same tools available on the right. Of course, you can download or print the PDF as needed once that's loaded, but we also have the permalink here as well. And so the permalink this time will direct you to the PDF. So say, for example, you do not want to send the email, the PDF as a separate attachment, then you can simply cut and paste this URL into an email or Teams chat, and the recipient would then need to click on that and authenticate in the normal fashion, which would be primarily Open Athens, obviously if you work in the NHS in England, etc. Okay, but there is the email option available here as well, so you can still send this file as an attached file along with the HTML full text, which is also available for this format as well. Okay, again, the cite tool is also displayed here as well. Okay, so just a recap of looking at individual records and processing them. Again, you can go directly to the full text records here. If we go to the HTML this time, by the way, you'll see we've got this to view online. You can navigate within this article, etc. But also you have the translation software. So for any non-English article that you come across, it can be translated into English from that language and vice versa. And that's provided by Microsoft. By the way, you still have the tools on the right-hand menu to process this record as well. Again, the permalink would link to this particular article. So if it makes more sense to send the HTML full text to a user, especially for the one who may be visually impaired, this will be the best format, because we do have text-to-speech software embedded here as well. So you have the reading voice here for choice of Australian English or American accents. We have the text mode also available to read this article, and we have the page mask as well. And also, again, for those visually impaired, we have the download, the MP3 option as well, which can be downloaded. Okay, so those are common features for HTML full text within EBSCOhost. Now, of course, invariably, especially when you look at the perspective of a systematic review, we may be looking to actually process the complete set of results, whether it's 28 or 2800, as it were. So there are a number of ways to do that. We've got the option on the right there, add to folder icon. You can literally look through the list and save the individual records, or more likely go to share, and then you can save, in this case, the complete page results here. Okay, once you do that, if you then click folder view under the third column, or go to the top right of the toolbar and click folder, they will be saved there. Okay, so again, you can see here they are available here. Okay, now if you are outside NHS England, by the way, at the moment I am signed into my folder. When you see sign in, it will present you with a form to complete if you do not have an EBSCO, my EBSCO folder account, and then you can sign in immediately afterwards. Okay, as I mentioned, with NHS England, once you are signed into the database through Open Athens and you click sign in, it says sign out here because I am signed in, it will automatically generate the folder for you, and it will specify that it's your personal folder. So it's my folder here. Okay, and that means these records are saved beyond the duration of the session. Okay, so they're now available. So if I was to close my browser by mistake, if I was to experience a network failure, then I could go back into CINAHL via Open Athens and then sign in, and my folder would be open and those results would still be there. Okay, now I've included in the PowerPoint some links to tutorials, help sheets about the folder as well. So I know this may be new to some of you, but there is a particular tutorial on using the folder itself. Okay, so I've got my results displayed here. So what we can do at this stage is consider processing them further. So again, we've got the option to select individual records or select the complete list here. And then we've got the tools within the folder on the right-hand menu. So you can print these records here. So click the print menu. And notice when you print, you can also include not only the HTML full text article, but also the current search history. So if you want to copy or record of that, then you can select that and also configure the citation format. So click print here. This will open up the subsequent page. And notice the search history is now displayed. Okay, and you can change the layout to landscape if you prefer as well. So that includes the search history as well. Go back, we've got again the email option. So you can click email, so having selected the results, and then you have the option to again add email address or addresses. So if it's a team that's working on this review, then you could send the results to all, for example, 4 members as it were. So just use the semicolon to differentiate the email addresses there. You can include the full text when sending, but I generally recommend not doing that, especially if you have multiple full text available in PDF format, because it will send them as separate emails. So you can end up with 28 emails in a person's inbox. So I'd untick this. I would untick the HTML full text option, again, because of the size of the email that goes out. But I would include the current search history because it will append a copy of your search strategy with the email that then can be viewed. So it's in HTML format, but it's a nice layout displaying the search itself. And then you have the citation format again. You can select from here, and then you would send these results to the appropriate person's inbox. Now I'm going to leave these in the folder for now because I'll come back to how you can also create a backup copy of these results before you send them. So what I'm going to do now is just let's see, now we've got the results there. Okay, so I'm going to clear this search, by the way. So we've still got results displayed there, but of course you may well want to just export the results in RS format. So we saw that earlier, I think I mentioned it. If you go to another reference here, like this one, item 2, you'll see on the right the tools menu and you'll see export there. So click on export, and this will allow you to save or email this record in the preferred format, so which would be essentially for exporting. So by default, direct export is in RIS or RS format. That is, of course, suitable for EndNote, Reference Manager, Zotero. We have one XML supported, BibTeX as well if you work in the academic sector. We have RefWorks, EndNote Web, which will be EndNote Online essentially. So you can either save or email in that format for this record. Likewise, if you go to the PDF or full text content, you have the same option below. On the right hand side, you see the export icon. So select this, and then you can do direct export in RS again, either save it in that format or email in that format. Okay, so these are the export options which are available for individual records. Now, you may want to do an export of the entire list, which you can do for the result list. So click share above the result list. Okay, and then you choose the export results link below. So you can email a link to download exported results up to 28 records. Now, this is only 28 at this stage. It does support up to 25,000 in the current interface. Okay, so you can export up to 25,000 records directly from the result list within CINAHL, and the same would be true of MEDLINE as well. So again, you would just enter the email address or addresses, click send, having selected the format, and then you'll see here a confirmation it's been sent, and a link to retrieve exported items will be emailed to the recipient, which is me in this case, and you can retrieve them within 7 days. Okay, so the link that's sent in the email will be valid for up to 7 days, and then you can, retrieve those records and import them into your preferred software. Okay, so as I said, it will support up to 25,000 currently from this interface. So again, you can be quite broad, as it were, but then process them through the preferred software that you're using. Now, that is good for individual databases. So if we're in MEDLINE, we can export a list of records from MEDLINE directly using that feature. Again, share, then export. However, you will most likely be searching more than one database individually, because obviously the indexing difference between CINAHL and MEDLINE, MEDLINE with mesh terms, CINAHL with CINAHL subject things. So although you may have the same topic, you will adapt it for the other database. So you could be saving results here in CINAHL, and then you could be saving them in MEDLINE. So I'm just going to illustrate that, and I'm not going to advise doing this typically, because we don't advise switching between databases and rerunning the same search, because there are differences with the index. But I'm going to try this for now, just to illustrate this in terms of saving records from different databases and then exporting. So I'm going to deselect CINAHL, go to MEDLINE, click OK. So what you'll see, the search history will still be displayed, but we'll now display it and rerun on MEDLINE. So we may end up with some interesting results there. I'm going to refresh this, but again, I generally don't recommend this because of the index terms will differ between databases by and large. So again, between CINAHL and MEDLINE, but we have got some references here. Let's see, we've got 22. Okay, so if, for example, we wanted to save these from MEDLINE, we'll go into the results list here. Okay, so I'll clear this as well. Some of these we may have seen before, but what I'll do here, I'm going to click share and then save 22 records. Now, if I go to my folder view, I've got a list of both the CINAHL and MEDLINE records in relation to this topic. So what I should have done, and what I would normally do, is just completely revise the search to ensure that it's compatible with MEDLINE, with mesh terms in MEDLINE, etc. And then when I rerun it and save records, I would be saving the records from MEDLINE and joining them with the ones from CINAHL in this list here. So the first ones that you see are from MEDLINE. Okay. Now, what this means then in practice is that I've got a collated list of search results from both MEDLINE and CINAHL. I'm not about duplication at the moment because I can dedupe in Endnote and other software. So what I would do here is select these records here and then click export here. So that means going back to this page, I can save these records, okay, with the preferred as the RS format, as it were. Okay, so again, I'm just collating records from different databases in the same folder and then saving them to export them, etc. Okay, So again, any questions, comments, or feedback on any of these features, please do let me know. Okay, now I'm going to go back to new search here, and we'll stay in Medline for now, I think, because we're here already. And we'll talk a little bit about saving searches for future reference. So it could be that I start off in Medline and then go to CINAHL or vice versa. I'm now looking at results in Medline, of course, again, but this time I'm going to look at saving the search. So you can see I've got my search history here. It's now applicable to Medline. So I'm going to save this search. I can print it, by the way. So click the print search history link, and it gives you this page, and you can right click, as you would guess, print, and then you can say it's a PDF, or you can literally just print this as a hard copy, whichever you prefer, and you can change the color if you wish, etc. So you can use print search history to print a copy of the search, a hard copy, or save it as a PDF. But you may want to just save this online. So go to Save Searches Alerts here. And this time you can see here, we have our search history, and on the right, you can see the action column, which means you can make changes. If you spot any errors, for example, to terms, and maybe some typos, maybe you end up with a set that has 0 results, and it may simply be because you've not configured the search string properly. So you can make changes, you don't have to rerun the search, and also if you go to edit, you could apply filters as well. So for example, if we only want English language references, we can add English here and save accordingly. So it's still possible to edit the search, make changes before you run it, and see 20 references now as opposed to 22. So once we're satisfied with that, we can then save the search. We have a choice of permanently or for 24 hours. So I'm going to put this as a, let's see, we're going to do VIP and oral hygiene. But this time, I'm going to specify that it's in Medline. Okay. So I can see that there, and I will say it permanently just so I have a reference, or actually maybe I'll just say this temporarily for now, and then save. Okay, so once you do that, you get confirmation the search has been modified. If you click continue, you get taken back to the saved searches. You can see they're listed currently by name. You can also review by the most recently added date added there. And if I scroll down, you'll see here we need to go to page 2. Okay, so just go to the next page, and you'll see we now have right at the bottom of the screen this one. So this is the one that I ran earlier on Medline CINAHL. This is now Medline. Okay, so I can edit these searches, by the way. So for example, I can edit the save search, and I can say CINAHL. Okay, and then save it. Again, comes back, and then you can go straight to page 2 and view the search below. Okay. Oh, where has it gone? Where has it gone? Oh, it's here. Sorry, it's gone back to name, by the way. So it's actually sorting by name by default here. But you can see the 2 different searches. Now, one thing to know about when you save a search, in case you were not aware, when you retrieve the saved search, it will run on the database that you're viewing. Now, since I'm in Medline right now, if I'd cleared my screen, so for example, if I went here, go back, so go back again. So if I clear my screen here, delete these searches here from Medline, click OK. If I go into my folder, go to my saved searches, and on page 2, we're on name now, aren't we? So VAP again. If I was to retrieve this one, this is a search I ran on CINAHL. It's now going to populate the search history with the CINAHL search itself. So again, we saw that it could work, but you are not going to end up with accurate results. Well, you're going to end up with results, but bear in mind that some of the index terms may be different. You may be should be using other index terms for mesh terms as well. So the point of this is showing you that it will rerun the search, okay, in Medline as opposed to CINAHL. Okay, so bear in mind that you want to make sure that you're on the right database. So we go to choose database now and reselect CINAHL, deselect Medline. Then we're going to run this search now as we intended on CINAHL itself, and I can select these and refresh the search results to do that. Okay. So again, any questions, comments, please feel free to put in the Teams chat or ask me online. If you want to select the raised hand icon, I can unmute you to make sure that what I'm showing you here is helpful, and also it's making sense to you as well. Okay. Now, another thing we wanted to highlight here is additional use of the folders as well. So if we go back to the folder view, we've got our results still there displayed, okay, as you can see here. Now, what if we wanted to send this to a clinician, or a person involved in this review? So we can, of course, go through and select them and email the results directly. We can also export, but what if the email goes astray? What if they delete the email, they cannot find it, it may end up in the spam folder, blocked by a spam filter, or end up in the junk mail folder? Then there are ways to create a backup of these. So what we could do now, especially when you sign into your EBSCO folder, you can create your own custom folder. So if we go to, typically by default, when you save records, articles, etc., they are saved into the default articles folder under my folder, right? That's the default folder where everything is stored. If you want to differentiate results from MEDLINE and CINAHL, or you have certain topics you want to differentiate, then you can create your own custom folder. And it's very similar to what you do with Outlook when you create subfolders under your inbox. So if you go to My Custom, click New here, then you can give the folder a name. So for example, I can put VAP, and let's go for VAP in oral hygiene. Okay, and click Save. So what that means is I've now got another subfolder here, VAP, ventilation, pneumonia, and oral hygiene listed here. So what I can do here is select these results, and I can copy this list to this folder. So this is the topic we've covered, both searching on CINAHL and MEDLINE, and the results that are stored, 50 records there, are stored within the subfolder. It then means when I select these results and go to email them, using the email manager there, I can add the email address or addresses. I can untick HTML full text, PDF, so I'm not sending separate attachments. Leave the current search history, choose the citation format. And another thing I'll do here now is to remove these items from the folder after emailing. So I've already created the backup copy in that new folder. I'm sending these to the recipient, and I'm clearing my screen for the next search. So click Send here. You get confirmation it's been sent to the appropriate email address. Click Continue, and the screen is now cleared. So that means I can run another search. Maybe I'll go to Health Business Elite, maybe AMED on EBSCOhost, or back into CINAHL, MEDLINE, and run another topic search, and the results will be stored here, and they will not be mixed with the previous search. So I've got now those 50 records associated with VAP and oral hygiene in a subfolder here. I can also copy, if we go to Save Searches here, my searches as well. So if I scroll down, I'll go to page 2 and scroll down here. I can now go and select both these searches, one for MEDLINE, one for CINAHL, and I can move them to that folder. So I can group my saved searches and my saved articles in one subfolder. So this is a great way for those who are performing evidence searches on a regular basis. You can create individual subfolders on various topics, or it could be a named clinician, it could be a department, and so on. So you determine what the how you would name and organize those, but it means that saved search is now there. Now, there's also the option to share this content as well. You'll see the share option below the folder. So click Share here. And so I can invite a colleague or another user to access this information. So I can put in here are my results in support of the systematic, it's right here, systematic review. Okay, so I just put that there, and I can invite whoever the recipient is. I can make it my colleague. I send it to him now, but like my colleague Sud in London, I can send that to him, and then he'll receive that. Then what will happen, he'll receive a passcode to access the folder. Now, what you'll see here, it says restrict passcode to single use. We generally advise unticking this box because If you do not do that, then every time they want to access that custom folder you've set up from within their own folder, they would have to enter that passcode. Okay, and you'll see on the bottom left there, I've got VIP and oral hygiene and add here. So this is another folder that I was invited to, a test folder. And if I click add here, so if I cancel that, click add, this is where the passcode goes in, and it looks like this, not something you remember very easily. So it's basically cutting and pasting. So obviously you don't have to do that each time you want to access the content from the folder. So if you tick that box, which again is this page, untick that and then send the invitation accordingly. Okay, so obviously anyone you invite to access content means that they must also have a personal EBSCO folder account as well. The other caveat to this is that the articles can be shared, so you can view on a read-only basis the articles, and anytime I add additional articles to that folder, the recipient can also see those as well, but they cannot delete or add to that from or add to that list. Also, the saved search itself, which are there now, these will be off limits. They will not be able to view those searches, only you can view them. Now, there is another way around that. If you would like to share the search or allow them to run the search themselves, there is what we call a persistent link. You can see an example here on this subfolder. This is basically the query string includes, this is on the PBSC database, by the way, including the following limiters. So it's on this subject. So you can literally cut and paste this persistent link into your browser and rerun the search directly. So each time you run the search, there is a link created. And if I click on the share option for the result list again, you'll see that link is here. So add search to folder, or you can just copy and paste the permanent link below, but you can save this, go back to your folder and scroll down, and you'll see now we have this next link here. Okay, so you can, this is the actual search string, of course, which is the search history combined. It's been run on CINAHL, and you can cut and paste that into your browser and rerun this search on that database. Okay, so that can also be moved or copied to, I'll move it this time to that folder, so it's the same topic. Okay, and you'll see that appearing on the left there as well. So that is something which can also be viewed when you invite individuals to access the folder, by the way. So anyone you invite to access this custom folder you've created can see the link and can also view the articles, but not the saved searches. Okay, so again, any questions or clarification on that, please do let me know. Okay. So that is essentially what I wanted to show you. I just wanted to also remind you the help menu is available on the top right toolbar, and within this menu you'll find we have information on using the folder, as you see here, and there's a associated tutorial with this. So if you're new to the folders, then please review that in your own time. We have the matter of managing custom folders, which I've just introduced you to as well. There are the screenshots there, and also sharing a folder as well. And also you'll find we've also got links on saving searches as well. I can see some screenshots there which look familiar based on what we saw on the desktop today. And again, for more information on the export manager, there's a link there with screenshots and definitions as well provided. Of course, below at the bottom of the screen, you'll find we've got the link to EBSCO Connect, our support portal. And within this page, you'll find in a moment the additional tutorials that are available here. And they include the ones that are generic to all EBSCO's databases. So again, you can click through to that link and you'll see the likes of the EBSCO's result list, which you looked at today, my EBSCO folder, and using the search history as well, also featured here. So again, these are tutorials which are available on YouTube, and they often come with an associated PowerPoint if you want to use that as well in any training support, etc. And of course, we do have, as I've mentioned previously on other sessions, we have the learning link there to EBSCO Academy, which is our learning management system, and that will give you access to additional recordings here. So you can browse those collections, for example. So you can look at healthcare database specifically. See CINAHL's featured there as well, MEDLINE also. And then also we have the e-learning paths as well, which feature courses specific to particular interfaces or products such as CINAHL, MEDLINE, and you can see them here. So for example, MEDLINE here, and that will give you various courses that you could take in your own time. These are self-paced complimentary courses. And if you want to take these, then you can just click register here. And then if you don't have an EBSCO Connect account, you'll be prompted to sign in or request an account here, and you can do that online through the Find by Organization feature. And so you can complete that to request an account for access to EBSCO Connect, which will then allow you to access EBSCO Academy, EBSCO Academy's learning paths. And then finally, we do have the upcoming classes here for additional training as well, which would be for you in Europe, essentially. So this is English-speaking Europe. This is our English-speaking portal with other sessions, and these are hosted on Zoom. So what I'm going to do here, and I'll stop sharing here. I'm going to jump back to the PowerPoint as we begin to close. Okay, so we just reviewed the live demonstration. I have got some screenshots. I'm not going to go in within the PowerPoint, which I have a copy of. I'm not going to go through those now. But what I will do is just go through some take-home points here just to recap what we've covered today. So the first thing, of course, is you have the option to print, email, save results using the respective tools. You see that for individual records as well as a selection of records as well. You can save searches for future access. You can rerun the save search directly from the EBSCO folder, etc. That doesn't require you to be signed in. You can export individual records or collated records, for example, in RIS or RS formats. That's from the folder using Export Manager or directly from the result list, as we saw earlier. You can also use the personal EBSCO folder account to store and retrieve references and searches. So again, to save searches, you do need to be signed into that account. So you need to create one. And you can also create custom folders to store and share references and links to search strategies as well, as we saw in the demonstration. So I have, as I said earlier, included some key support materials, documentations, FAQs, etc. that would be of interest to you. These relate to exporting records, etc. We also have those in support of using EBSCO folders as well, including creating custom folders and sharing custom folders as well. And of course, saving searches and results. Use the result list search history tutorials there, as you see. And we also have our dedicated healthcare training resources portal, NHS, so the training resource portal, which you can find at nhsresources.stacksdiscovery.com. We didn't actually have a look at that today, so what I might do is just post a link to that. So that's kind of like the one-stop shop for any healthcare related database help, support, etc., including recordings, as you see here, training sessions as well, and support information, which is a direct link to EBSCO Connect, our support platform, as it were, which you can also go directly to at support.ebsco.com. And as we saw, that will take you through also via learning to the learning management system, EBSCO Academy, where you'll find additional recordings, e-learning paths, and training sessions, including those intended for Europe specifically, which is English-speaking Europe, as you see there. Okay, I know we're well within time, so I'm happy to just pause here if there are any questions, comments, or feedback in relation to the management of search engine results in terms of supporting systematic views and also like searches. So any comments, questions, or feedback at this time before we conclude here? Thank you for joining today's session. I'm glad it's been useful. And obviously, you can always reach out to me at rquickset@ebsco.com if you need to post session at some point. Thank you again for attending.